All right, I'm live. I sent out sort of a notice, sort of, kind of, but I'm not sure. Oh, Calico still alive? I'm not sure if people get it. I don't care. This still video still gonna be released if people see the live or not. So I'm going to share the screen and I'm gonna move on. Hopefully this is just a 20-minute video because it's so late. But let me make the point that I'm making. Let me make the point. I know I got the thumbnail. Oh, I don't even need the thumbnail. I got something. I got something else. And this is PNF, America's #1 conscious researcher. You know, a lot of people is taking shots at me. They want a shot at me. I'm popping in the debates. I'm doing really well for the debate community. #1 researcher website coming out with the products of PNF Industries on it. I'm taking over the world by storm. So let's go in here and interpret the slave states. And Joe Biden President Joe Biden dropped the stimulus checks, had a good presidential run, and we got to be on our toes out here politically now. It's getting different. Politics is hurting our pockets, putting us in the gym. So we got to get out here and rep this information. Okay, I'm not sharing the screen. I'm not sharing the screen. I'm not sharing the screen. For those who see this video, I hope and pray y'all ain't giving up. Because y'all need a Lord and Savior information. And I feel like when these videos dry up and people no longer care about YouTube videos, I feel like, that's when we're going to have to take to the streets. But, don't give up on the information, y'all. Wow. Keep on tuning in until we can dodge these haters. Now, let's go back. Hold on, where's that? What's it called? The physiology. Okay, right here. Let's go here. Slave states. Let's go over Joe Biden. We're gonna talk about Joe Biden. Slave states: 1820 and 1860. Alabama, Arkansas, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, Missouri, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, and Virginia. Shout out to Gabble Gabble. Wow, let's get all these states. These are the slave states, but I'm going to be interpreting this the right way. I'm going to make sure you understand what Joe Biden is saying with his quote for reparations for Native Americans. And I'm going to comprehend slave in America and slave states and who was punished for having slaves and contraband and slavery contraband. Right? So these are the slave states. If you was from one of these states, if your ancestors is from one of these states, then you was affected by the slave trade one way or another. It don't matter. It don't matter. You were affected by it because of the laws that came after it. Now let's get the percentage. It's a must. Did we get these percentages? Let's start right here. 187,000, right? Virginia. 69,000 Carolina, 75,000 South Carolina, 15,000 slaves in Georgia, 654 up top, Hampshire, Massachusetts, 4,700, Rhode Island, 3,000, Connecticut, 5, New Jersey, 8, Pennsylvania, 5, New York, 20. Okay, Georgia is that's peculiar because that's only 15,000 slaves from the 1820 to 1860. That's not a lot of people. And we know a lot of white convicts. Right. How can we give reparations when we enslave people first? Exactly. That is a great question. That's why a lot of blacks want to remain victims. They don't want to accept a role in the Confederate States. They don't want to accept a role in having white slaves. Exactly. And that's what this is about. In fact, these slave states all had white slaves. All these colonies had white slaves. In provincial New York, all the way up here, these are all white African slaves from African colonies called Mauritas. I'm going to show y'all the Mauritas Ethiopian Christian colonies that the Ethiopians put these folks over here. Right. These are all slaves, 19,000 in New York. These ain't no dang on black people or what we call Native Americans or Moors. These are all whites, 15,000 whites, 75,000 whites. And eventually all these states that start buying slaves from these people, all the states that start buying slaves from right here, the ports, these the ports that they're coming in. 63,000 in Maryland, another Aboriginal state, a Moor state. Now let me prove my point. Alabama, Arkansas, all of these are Aboriginal places that started buying them slaves. Tennessee. See, these ain't colonies. All of these people are the slave states. These are the people who started buying these slaves from these East Coast slave sellers. See, they were supposed to be on the colonies, but they started selling them to the other states. And that became a problem because the white slaves started getting found all over America. They supposed to be on the East Coast, but they're magically getting found all over America. So now that became a problem because these white people shouldn't be past these colonies. If you see how I broke that down, and slavery wound up getting abolished in 1807. Let's look that up before we get into Joe Biden. Watch this. Slavery abolished in 1807. So slavery abolished in 1807, but they keep on practicing it. They keep on practicing it. Look at it right here. They're practicing it. Where were the slave states? Because they're practicing it. Hold on. Right? So now 1807, look at that. It's abolished. So that's why we have the West Indian Regiment. Look at the West Indian Regiment. Now while we see so many West Indians over here free people, not no slaves, because in 1807 slavery was abolished. This is why we see so many West Indian and Native Guard. Let's go and look at the Louisiana Native Guard. Bam. This is why we see so many free West Indian, because slavery was abolished. Now let's go up in here to white slavery. White Slavery Act. Now we got the White Slavery Act. The white people was not free into 1910, 1911. So the Mann Act, also known as the White Slave Traffic Act, because they are the slaves. The black people, dark skinned people, was not enslaved until 1807. It was over with for them. But they kept enslaving the white people. They did not get their freedom until 1911. Now, Joe Biden says he would look into the Native American. Joe Biden says he would look into reparations for natives, not just black. Oh boy, this is really finna. Okay, where is it at? See, I want to get the quote. Okay, Biden blowing off black voters, reparation activists saying, but I want to get the exact quote where he says, you know, he look into the Native Americans. See, that's gonna really open up the floodgates, because Biden know the black people, right, are the slave master. The black African American are the slave master, and the white man is the slave. The Native Americans need to be getting paid, because we're the people caught in the middle of this nonsense of black and white. Joe Biden knows the Native Americans lost their land. When we look at this map, look at that. It says Spain, which is Moors. Spain means what? Hispanola, which is what? Lisbon. Lisbon is the same word. So Lisbon is the grand, the tall culture, the big culture, not the little culture. So when you go to this line, that means the little rinky dinks ain't supposed to be here. This is nothing. All west is Moors. That's what Spain means. Now we look right here at this proclamation line. They're not supposed to come past here into the reserved lands for the native indigenous. So Joe Biden saying that he wants to get the reparations to the Native Americans, which is the Moorish. You know, the Moorish that was free, because we got Moroccan Moors who are worldwide people. Then we got free American Moors who are just Moorish Americans, indigenous. So we got the Indian Reserve for the true American who don't want to play games, which is Illinois. You feel me? Look at all of our spans. See, Joe Biden is saying, let's get them their reparations, not the black, because the blacks are just a political party of people who was our slave masters. We look at the black nobility. We look at the black, you know, small percentage of wealthy people, the black Illuminati, black Boule. Those people are the slave master, and Joe Biden knows it. He knows it. So Joe Biden quote saying, "I would look into the Native American reparation, not the blacks, because the blacks are the ones that enslaved Joe Biden's ancestors." Joe Biden knows this. So if we can get the quote, let's go and get the quote. Let's go and get the video. I think it's on TD Hip Hop. Joe Biden says no to a reparation. Yes to Native American. Let's see if anything pop up. Cause I should have already had the source. You see that? You see that? See, I should have had the source right here. Ed Gordon or urges to Joe Biden to support reparations for African American. See, Joe Biden knows the law because he coming in with Obama, which knows black means nothing. They already said black mean nothing, and they steady trying to push this, rinky dink on him. Joe Biden says it. He says, um, no, I'm not gonna look into no reparations for black. I look into it for the Native Americans. That's exactly what he said, and that's when they had the black people looking silly because they don't want to be Native Americans. They want to be some damn Africans. He said, I'm not looking into that. Joe Biden said that because he knows the indigenous Illinois Americans like myself and Alabamians. We don't have nothing to do with this colonies right here. And then here is our people right here, our business people, the Spanish, the Moors. We already dealing with them, the Chickasaw, the Moors. We're dealing with the Spanish. We're over here in our free land. Joe Biden and his people should have never came here. So he owes us reparations for that. That's why he's like, okay, I'll look into the Native American reparation because we owe them for stepping in their land. We should have never did that. See, he's doing the right thing. That's why talking to Joe Biden makes sense to me now. It makes sense because he made the right quote. That we need to be looking at the Native Indigenous American reparation for the now called Negritos. Now let's go and look at the Negritos. Let's go and look at the Negritos, which is the Moros. This is who's supposed to be getting reparations. Negritos, because this is who the Spanish assaulted. The indigenous population of Southeast Asia, oh, they're in America too. Negrito, King, Lucas. Now, this is the people the Spanish is assaulting. Then we look at our brother General King Lucas, who was the king of the Negritos, which is known as Moros pre-English. See, it became Negrito when the racist English came. So we just say Negrito. We supposed to say Moros. They have been a long fascination all over the world because they're known all over the world. And it's more important than the king of all the Negritos. So they have one leader king. The Spanish call them Moros. The English call them Negritos, which is disrespectful. Now, this Negrito right here is in Illinois. Look at this Basilio, 1904 World Fair, placing in the pole climate. See, they're in America. They're in America. Look at them with the tall cap on. El Capitan, the chief of the Negrito village at the World Fair in St. Louis. Negrito, right? So the reason why I'm emphasizing that is because this is the territory of the World Fairs. This is where the World Fairs buildings is at, and this is the people living there. And Joe Biden and his people should have never been there. We're related to these people. We're protecting them and what was stolen. The blacks is the English because Negrito come first. It's Spanish. It's going to the Spanish. How they started identifying the Spanish Moros. It go back to that period. Black is a English word, so nobody's a blacks. That's why Joe Biden is like, I don't know nothing about no blacks. Let's go back to the Native Americans. The Native Americans go back to the Spanish. The English wasn't even here. They weren't even here. So they started destroying stuff in modern time. The whites and the encroaching Slavs who was freed, they started destroying these people and renaming them. They started renaming them, and that's the reparations, beating them up, rioting their town, killing them. That is where the reparation come from. The Negritos, our ultimate ancestor, the Spanish encountered and called Moros. They called them Moros. Let's go and prove it. Now, I don't even want to prove that. I don't even feel like proving that, really. I don't even know what I pulled this up for. I don't want to distract from the fact that we have to get the quote of Joe Biden saying that he's not doing nothing for the blacks, that he's gonna, be doing it for the Native Americans. Let's see if we can find that what Joe Biden says he will look into it. Okay. Take a stand on reparations. Let's see, TD hip hop. Okay, here it is right here. I got it, y'all. I'm glad y'all waited for your kid. I'm glad y'all waited for the kiddo. Biden conditions support of watch of reparations. Joe Biden's wants provision for Native Americans, including in any cash form payment form of reparations to the African American descendant of slaves. See, Joe Biden is not stupid. These African Americans are scamming, trying to get reparations, and Biden says no, it needs to be for the Native Americans because those are the people we ruin land. The blacks are the slave masters who brought the white people over here. Let's prove it. Who the blacks are? The blacks are the one drop rule people like Obama, who's a black. Obama is a black. Let me go and prove it. Now let's go and prove the white people. The white people are slaves of Africans. Let's go and prove that. Let's go and prove that the white people are slaves of Africans. And I already showed y'all the white people did not get their freedom until 100 years after everybody else. I already showed y'all that. Let me re-emphasize that. Now, let's go into Marita's Mills. We see the white children, Library of Congress, with no shoes on. I like to emphasize no shoes on. Marita's Mill, they're working in these mills picking cotton. It's a cotton factory, Marita Mill, but y'all never knew the source of this mill. You just thinking all these mills is slave plantations for white people. It's like I teach, but you don't know the source of it. You just thinking, oh, it's just in America. No, it's not just in America. Some of these suitors was from not America. Some of them was from not America. Documenting the American South. Look at that. Marita's Mills. Then we go up in here and we find the little white children were enslaved. Look at them. They're hungry workers. Look at them. Typical workers in the cotton mills. And they'll have you out here talking about some um cotton picker. Cotton picker. They'll be out here talking about cotton picker. And then they'll have the black African knack, Lucky Guzman, them talking about some, oh, you a West African slave. You was brought over here to be slave. So what was the white people brought over here for? Oh, they was just indentured servitude. Dude, what? You have a white man name. They got all these silly little no, I don't have a white man name. No, I don't. They learn everything from us. They copy everything. Now let's go in here and confirm where this Maritas is from before I lose sight. So let's say Marita was the name of Africa. Now I'm not supposed to be exposing this, but I'm gonna expose it. I'm not supposed to be exposing this right now. Hold on, let me share this video. Let me share this so I can get my normal More normal 100 views. Okay, how do I get out of here? Let me share this. Marita is the name of the continent known today as Africa. And I'm going to show y'all where that Marita's meal come from. What that Marita meal is really explaining. All right. Okay, so there we go. Now Marita, like Mauritania or Tamardi, like Altamara is the traditional name for the continent known today as Africa. It is still used by traditional scientists across the continent. It is a traditional Medu hieroglyph of the word means Meri. Meri. So the Ethiopians call themselves a Meri or Amharic, Ame and Ta. Our beloved land. Kemet was the global civilization that preserved the land. So the continent of the Marita, the Americas, Australia, and territories of China, India, and parts of Union were all referred to as Kemet due to their allegiance to the original civilization. So it was actually called Merita, not Africa. So now we go back to the Marita Mills. So these are the slaves of Europe who was brought over here by the Africans, by the Jamaicans, by the Ethiopians. These are Slavs. They should have never been in America. We never wanted them here. They went against our word. We never wanted the Slavic people here. Joe Biden, who is a white slave, who stems from these white slaves, Slavs, because his people didn't get free from slavery until 1911. I just showed you slavery was abolished in 1807 for West Indians because Britain enslaved West Indians, right? And Grenadine Islanders, just like they have all of the possessions in Jamaica at once. These people got freed in 1807. Now the white people didn't get it free until 1911. The white people didn't get free till 1911. Let me keep emphasizing that. Joe Biden knows his people through Jim Crow. When his people was, this is Joe Biden's people in the coast, all of the white slaves right here, like I showed y'all. Over 200,000 white slaves from Ethiopia kicked out of England for protesting. They was protesting being under Ethiopia. They're called Protestants. Later on, Freemasons who freed themselves from Ethiopia because they're under Ethiopia, right? Christianity, and they longer became Anglican Church. They went from that. Now, when we see Indian Reserve Proclamation now 1763, they want to come over here and conquer Spanish territory, which is Moorish. This is where we have all the antiquities of Moab and Mexico and Mayan. That means in 1763, that means they didn't know nothing about what was going on over here. They was not allowed over here. They cannot cross these lines. So they want, as slaves, they're living here as slaves, successful or not. They want to leave here and they want to come over to cross into Spanish territory so they can rob them. But the Indian reservation, the antiquities, is off limits. So they have to find a way out around this. So they create a fake war, a fake revolutionary war to get them as an excuse to explore America. So after they do that, they come into our towns that we have in the early 1800s, and that causes the war 1812 because Washington, D.C., Illinois can no longer protect us from white people. Joe Biden's people, they destroy our towns and our affiliation with Spanish. Anybody who speaks Spanish, anybody who speaks Arabic, the white people started destroying because they always want to destroy the Moors. Joe Biden is offering reparations for that. And that's why he chose the terminology Native American, because he understands the imminence of it. He supports provisions for Native Americans because we are native to America. We are not from Africa. That's why he supports the provisions for Native American. And if we let him talk and comprehend what he's saying, we will not be in our feelings. Joe Biden supporting provisions for Native Americans because he know black people put his people in slavery. We know black Ethiopians, the black nobility, put Joe Biden people in slavery as Slavs. Joe in exchange, Joe Biden people started terrorizing the Negritos and our people and the World's Fair people who kept up the World Fairs. They started robbing and looting Negro towns because that's what they call us, Negroes. So they started looting our towns so they can get their freedom. That's how they got their freedom through terror. That's why Joe Biden wants to give us reparations because they know they destroyed our Native American town. We are not from Africa. That's why Joe Biden deserves to be listened to. That's why Joe Biden needs to be the next president again because he wants to give out our reparations as long as we Native Americans get it. That's why I believe Joe Biden is doing the right thing. I am not voting for Trump, and I hope y'all don't either. I see right through them. Trump is another ploy to keep us from getting these reparations. The Biden administration, Obama, all of them is giving people their money who is making a claim. The right people made the claim. We have not made the claim as Native Americans. We made the claim as black, and black is against the law. African American is a Elon Musk. That is not he's those are the people we're not getting them reparations. They're not Native Americans. Why would the government pay non-Native Americans reparations anyway? Or non people with a non-nationality? So, like I prove, Joe Biden is actually using the right language because we're Americans. They destroyed our Negro towns. You would have not had no towns if you were not from here. You are not no African slaves with no town. They're using the terminology Negro because it proves you were here during Spanish, and Spanish called you Moros. Spanish predates English, and they called you Moros. Spanish never called you black because black is a English word. Black is an English word. Now look at the Spain territory. They didn't get over here to 1804 and 1812 at the Louisiana Purchase. So all of this is Moro. They don't know anything about black because it's Moro. Negrito is a derogatory word that the British brought, which is actually another Spanish word for black or black cherry, right? It actually means royalty once upon a time. Or Negritios is another English variation of derogatory that they're using the Spanish word, but that's not what Spanish called them. They called them Moors. It's derogatory, but it still puts you in a time frame of the Spanish when we were Moros. That's what they're explaining. Joe Biden know he owes us reparations, but we're not using that language. We're not popping up on the scene like we are the Native Americans. We demand reparations. The reason why we are the Native Americans, Native Aboriginal Americans, is because we marry islanders. We marry Caribbeans. We marry islanders. Yes, we are Aboriginal, but yes, we are Native Americans because we are native all over the land. We start and we have land. Hold on, let's go and get the definition of native. Let's go and get the definition. Merriam definition of native. Let's go and beat the stigma out of this word. One born or reared in a place, an original or indigenous inhabitant. So they got us scared to use the word native when in fact it does mean indigenous. And this is why we don't follow Sister Soul. What her name is, Big Mama Holbert. We don't follow none of them. It's because they try to stigmatize the word native when it actually means the same thing as indigenous. Aboriginal is away from civilization. It's away from civilization. They can be first all they want. I respect Aboriginal, but I'm indigenous too. I'm indigenous as well. I always emphasize that. Now, let's go back. Indian, indigenous. Bam. Joe Biden them destroyed these lands when they ran out to the dang on war. They got out of the French. They got from under the French. They got from under the British crown and the provincial Pennsylvania Quaker towns. They broke out of that. Now they're rushing over here, stealing jobs and immigrants do. And they're crushing our people, burning them at the stake, stealing, rewriting history the best way they know how. And then here come Lewis and Clark. Lewis and Clark came is the final death blow when they got, York, Lewis, and Clark. York, Lewis, and Clark. Now they had to go and get York to take them to the West Coast. This the dude who took them to the West Coast to find the West Coast, brother York. Now Lewis and Clark now, they came after. They came after the fact. After the fact. Right? So this is proof they did not build this territory. They came here in what year, y'all? 18 what? 1803. Lewis and Clark got right here in 1803. That means all of this was Moro indigenous. Joe Biden people come from Lewis and Clark and they destroyed all this. That's why they want to pay Native and Moorish people reparations, not black, because blacks are the people who put them in slavery, because blacks are the black nobility of Ethiopia who come from the land of Mauritas. As we can see the Marita Mills. Marita Mills is the name of Africa, Marita, like Mauritania. So they put these white folks in the Maritas mills, put them in slavery. Maritas, put them in slavery, and let them out to 1911. In 1911, look at all these white poor people in slavery. In slavery in Georgia, a slave state. So whoever didn't release these people, or whoever had them as whoever had them as contraband got punished. Whoever had these white people. And that's why our people got put in bondage and also forced to be in the American Union. They forced us into black and that black colored stuff, because a lot of us was living in the Confederacy owning whites, or we hired whites illegally. We illegally hired them maybe. A 6-year-old helper in the hosiery mill. Here's another white slave. In the hosiery mill, here's another white slave, 6 years old with no shoes on. In America, another slave, and they would minimize her role and say she was a helper. This woman wasn't no helper. This girl wasn't no helper. She was a slave, and because that's their nationality is Slavic. And on top of that, this is proof that they didn't own nobody. They didn't have no wealth. They had to work. So this destroys the narrative that these blacks are victims getting beat on the back, whipped. No, these little children are human trafficked to work hard, and they shouldn't have to. Little children shouldn't have to work, and it's wrong. And the African Americans, the reason why I say African Americans, because Ethiopians are Africans. They are in charge of the African Union. Morita is the name of the continent known as Africa. So Marita Mill come from the African Ethiopian Bob Marley types, the Marcus Garvey, Ja Rasta types. They are the people putting these white people in slavery, and we don't want nothing to do with it. As you can see, we are reserved. We're like, we reserve our rights. We don't want nothing to do with slavery. Leave us alone. Spain, on the other hand, do. They enslave white people. They enslave white people. The colonies enslave white people. So when they destroyed the colonies in 1766, that's when they wanted to cross over the Indian and go to the Spain to destroy them. They're like, look, we got our freedom over here. We're going to get our freedom over here. So Joe Biden recognizing that he should not have destroyed our lands here, what you see is going to leave us with the Seminole land. That's it. They're going to take all of this, then they're going to run up over here after the Louisiana Purchase and start destroying anything more. Right? I explained that to a T. Anybody comprehend what I just did? Joe Biden want to give us reparations because they know what they did in 1832. They know what they did in 1918 and 1913. They know what they did in 1928. They know what they did with the Banking Act. They know exactly what they did. They know what they did with the Banking Act, and they confiscated 25 billion in gold back then. That's trillions of dollars right now. 25 billion in gold from Moors, confiscated with guns. They came to the doors and took gold from all our banks all over the country. They stole our gold. The government did. So what I'm saying is they want to give us reparations. This is the best argument for that. I'm not going to overemphasize. I showed y'all proof. Marita is the name of Africa. I showed y'all Marita's mills, white people enslaved. I showed y'all that the black people put them in slavery. That's why we don't use the name black. That's why we don't use the names African. Negro take us back to Moro and Negrito. We was punished because we have brown skin, simply because we have brown skin. And they are punishing us because what the black Africans did to them. What the black Africans did to them, they punishing us. We are the indigenous and we want nothing to do with none of them. Now we are demanding reparations. We can't get it because the black people keep on getting in our way. We want to be Native Americans like Joe Biden is trying to tell us. Joe Biden is like, be a Native American. Stop following the blacks. Stop following the blacks. Biden conditions for reparations. He supported on provision for Native American, though. He wants Native Americans included in the cash payment. The blacks don't want Native Americans included because the black want to steal all the money again because they caused the slavery. They caused the slavery, and I can prove it. The blacks caused the slavery, and they don't want us to get our money is because that's going to get us our land. Don't y'all understand? Reparations is land. Reparations ain't just money and cash payments. It ain't just that because Joe Biden support cash payments, but we want our land back. This is repair the damages. The damages is the land, Joe Biden. So we're not going for no damn cash payments. We're not together like that. So if Joe Biden want to issue out any payments, it's gonna be all this land right here they should have never crossed, according to the proclamation of 1763. The white slaves, they fought and they rebelled in the revolution and they crossed over this reserve to go and fight Spain, and they made Mexico go down to Mexico after that. They fought Mexico until they ceded, and we were in a crossfire, and they owe us reparations, which is all this land from Illinois to Alabama, Florida, etc. We want it back, and I hope y'all enjoyed this video because I'm not wasting no time with this. This is what I'm gonna be. Shout out to Peace on Kiera. I'm not gonna. This is what I'm coming at when I come with my website, PNF, America's #1 conscious leader. When I come with my website, I'm coming for this argument, and I'm taking it to people. So I'm not gonna play with this. I'm just letting y'all know that I know the facts of why Joe Biden said Native Americans and not blacks. And the blacks have to be penalized. The African Americans must be penalized. We are none of that. We predate that, and it goes back to Negro because Spanish Criollo was here before that. Then we have the Creole Louisiana peoples. Let's go and look at that before I leave. And how significant that is. Louisiana Creole. So that's important. So when we looking at the Louisiana Creole, and we know Criollo was Spanish first. So we have a more of a brown background. We have a brown background, and the English want to make us black. English want to make everything black. Anything that involves us is just black. When we go back, it's brown. So we have a Criollos de Louisiana, and we see Mali, we see Nova Scotia or France. So that's a French Latin. We see Portugal, we see Mali, and we see Ghana. So that's Portugal, right? Um, France, Portugal, Mali, and what was the other one? Was that Spain? Did I say it right? No, 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 no. That's Portugal, Mali, Ghana, and France. I think that's the Ghana flag. But anyway, this is what makes our Criollo relationship in America before a French. This is what actually makes up the free people. The Criollos, the Louisiana. This is where the free people come from. An Acadian river is over 3,500 years old. The Acadian River is over 3,800 years old by name. We can go and look that up as well. Cajun and Creole. So I'm making this point because Native American Spanish, West Central African French, Louisiana is a big Creole diaspora because these are the countries we rule. Now, the reason why this is important is because we go back to the languages here, they did not use black. None of these people said the word black in their language. Black come later. So if we're under this government, then we never called ourselves black. Black is a Anglo culture that's against us. Now let's go and prove that English is against us. Let's go and prove English is against us. So we don't have to accept their words. Now, Creole was used as identity in Louisiana for 18th century. After the Saleh sale of Louisiana, the term Creole took on a more political meaning, political, which is necessary because this is identity, this is ethnicity, especially for those of Latinate culture. Latinate culture. The Catholic Latin Creole, which is the mother Creole, contrasted greatly to the Anglo Protestant culture of the Yankee Americans. That means we was not accepting the white culture. We was not accepting the Yankee culture. We're against it. So they're showing you the differential of the English pushing blacks and the Latin Creole Americans under the Negro. So if you up under Negro, you're more under the Latin. You're not under the English. You don't let no English judge you because you was here before them. They did not get here to the 1800s. So when you're dealing with those black slaves up under that English black slavery, when you up under that English black slavery, you don't listen to them English black slaves because they don't predate nothing. They came over here with the white man. When you have that Mississippi Negro, when you have that Spanish Negro, that Indian Negro, you have that predating of English who didn't get here to the 18 Lewis and Clark days, 1800s. When Lewis and Clark got here, we was already over here. Let me go give y'all one more gem that we was already over here. Because if you see the map says Spain. Now let me go and support that on one more historical note. On one more historical note. One brother say that says Habitages. Correct. Let me break that down for you then. Now look at this. Mexican section. Now you look at that map in the 1700s that say Spain. Look at all this territory of the 1848 to show you that the white man was not up in. Look at that Guadalupe, which is the same word as Guale. This is right when the Guale people had went down, which is part of the Utah Alabama race. This is the Mexican Cession of 1848. That means the white man was not over in this area because they just left the East Coast getting their freedom in 1776. They're crossing over here and they're going to have a treaty where they got to leave this area and go to Mexico. That means they didn't build none of these buildings over here, and we were still called Moro around this time. So everybody would be Moors, 1850. We go to Louisiana Purchase, 1804. That was Spanish. Look at the Tignon laws. That was Spanish. Let's go and prove that was Spanish. Watch this. Watch this. I'm finna prove it was Spanish. So that take us out of English, and Spanish predate English. English borrows from Spanish. So the Tignon law was Governor Esteban the Moor. The Esteban the Moro, Don Moro, he said, you know what? Y'all are gonna cover up. All of you Creole women, ain't no excessive attention to the dress in the streets. You're gonna cover your hair. That's exactly what Don Esteban the Moor did. 1786. So we're dealing with Spanish definition of morals. We're not looking at no English definition, which means black. English is a black word. So nobody was calling themselves black. Nobody was calling themselves black because that came later. And that's what these not a coincidence dudes are trying to put on us thinking we're dumb. No, they were not calling themselves black because that came later. They didn't call themselves Negro because that's a derogatory term. They called themselves Moros. So under the Tignon laws, it would have been Moro. It would have been Moro, and I can easily prove that. That everywhere the Spanish encountered these dark-skinned people, they called them Moros. They did not call them blacks. The Spanish never called them blacks. They called them Moro. English called them black, and that's what we're trying to tell these silly Pan Africans. That's what we're trying to tell these silly Pan Africans. Now, the Tignon law puts you under the Spanish jurisdiction. So if you were called Negroes, you go to the Spanish jurisdiction because we're writing in English, right? Whenever you get in your records and it's in English and it says Negro, that's a English rendition of Moro. That means Moro, but it's a derogatory term, so they're writing English, so you won't know you're a Moro. Under Spanish rule, you're a Moro. You were always called a Moro. I can prove that. And let me prove it right now. I'm good at this research, man. Watch this. Watch this. Um, indigenous. Watch this. Indigenous people of Philippine. Watch this. Now look at this. Look at this. Is this it? Hold on. Where is that? Let me make sure I got it. Because it's not reading what I see. Hold on. Let me see something. Let me see something. Hold on. Boy, let me see. Okay. Hold on. Hold on. Let me make sure it's read ethnic groups. It says ethnic groups in the Philippines. Hold on. Ethnic groups. Almost. Woo, woo, woo. Hold on. Ethnic group. Watch this. Let me prove one more point about the Spanish, and that's not even what this video is all the way about. Okay, it's not reading what I needed. Moro. See, you see, that's how we do. In the Philippines, Philippine history. That's what it do. Hold on, Philippine history. Hold on. Philippine history. That's exactly what it do, boy. I swear. That's exactly what it do. Now I gotta reword this. Hold on. Hold on, man. I gotta prove my point. All right. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm finna prove my point. I swear, boy. Ethnic groups in the Philippines. We type it one more time. Ethnic groups in the Philippines. Okay, we see the Moro people, Negrito people. Look, Negrito, Christianized Negritos. See, when you're a Negrito, you're a Christian. When you're a Moro, Bangs of Moro, 13 Muslim majority Austronesian groups, and we know Austronesian is the same as the Olmec. We know Austronesian is the same as the Olmec. Now let me go on here. Did I say next? Hold on. Did I do it? I did it. Now let's go in here and read this because it's not showing what I wanted to show. Hold on. Watch this. Let's go into the community. Let's go into the community. I'm finna buzz heads. Okay, it's not even showing. Wow. Come on. Go back. Okay, here it is right here. Let's see if the audience is paying attention. I got 7 people in here. Okay, 7 people. Check this out. Ethnic groups in the Philippines. The Spanish called them Moros after the Moors, despite no resemblance. So, regardless of what the English is saying, there is no resemblance. They speak the Batak language, which is a Negrito language. See, Negrito is a Christian people. So this is a cover up. They're trying to take the Negrito, who is a Christianized English people who have been brainwashed. They're trying to say, oh, they don't look like no Moors, even though the Spanish called them Moors. But the Spanish predate the English. So they call them Moros, not Negritos. The Spanish never called them the Gritos. That's something English called them because they're Christianized. Spanish called them Moros after the Moors. So the Spanish would have called us Moros after the Moors, not blacks, because that's derogatory. Because that's derogatory. Now, when we look at those Spanish territories, look at this: Egypt Station, Confederacy. Enter the Confederates at Egypt stations on the Mobile and Ohio Railroad, the Confederate force, right? The Egypt Station, the Egypt Station. Look at the Muslim flag. Look at the Army of the West flag of the Mississippian. This is what they're tearing up. Look at the scissors. Look at the scissors on the pyramid I discovered. Look at the pyramid. Look at the scissors on the pyramid I discovered. Now let's go into the flag of the Moroccans. Let's go on flag of the Moroccans. The Banu, Waterburbers, Maronides, the Catholic Kings. Look at this. Red flag, and we find this same flag, this exact same flag in the Confederate Army. This exact same red flag, y'all, in Alabama. Let's keep going. Let's go down to the scissors. As we can see, the Zulfikar flags. Scissors. It says it right here. It says it right here. The Moroccan King, Taylor pair of scissors. Q Butter and them tried to say it wasn't no scissors. Q Butter's channel tried to say it wasn't no scissors. They said that I was wrong, and I proved them wrong, and Q Butter took the video down. Q Butter took the video down. Here it is right here with this bracket in the middle, showing you it's scissors. Emperor of Morocco and black details in the scissors. An eye in each handle. An eye in each handle. They are scissors. They are scissors. Then when we go back, my people, we go back, we see the same scissors on that pyramid that I found in Madison, Wisconsin. This is what these agents are hiding. They all have the same tone. They all filibuster. They all interrupt you. They all disrespect you and call you names. Nobody in their right mind 20 years ago, 10 years ago would be ignoring this. Nobody, if you found something like this in your backyard, everybody and their mama would be out there filming this. Like, wow, brother. Now all of a sudden it's irrelevant. You know why it's irrelevant? Because all of these people are immigrants. Q Butter is a immigrant. All those blacks on Not a Coincidence are immigrants. And they want to find a reason to stay in our country and humiliate us. They telling you you're not Moors, you're not Hebrews, you're not, you're not indigenous because you don't want to be an African. And we're telling them we're not African. We were here before those terminologies. We were here before black. We were here before black. Yeah, I know you. Yeah, you was there that night and he took the video down, but this is a prime example of how he's ignorant. And even though they took the video down, me and you can still embarrass him. We can still embarrass him any day. I will embarrass Q Butter. Now, y'all look at this screen and y'all see these pair of scissors right here. Let's see if we can zoom in. See that? Look at that zoom in. These are scissors. These are scissors. Scissors. You see those scissors, y'all? This is on a pyramid that I found in Madison, Wisconsin, and I found another one. So I'm going to show y'all that. Let me go and show them. Let me see if it's in here. Let's say pyramid from out of tree.
We're downtown Flint. Downtown. Check this out. That tree is clearly 300 years old. Probably 200. But look at what we found inside. What is this? I got some markings on it, but I don't know. That ain't natural. Anybody got any thoughts? Let us know. Leave some comments. Very curious, and we're very interested. Because Flint was founded in 1807. So how old is that thing? This thing's pretty big.
So we been had pyramids. As we can see, not only did we have pyramids before Europeans got here, we have this one particular one with scissors on it. We have one particular one with scissors, which is very important because that's a Moor symbol. And we are, let me show y'all what we're up against. I'm going to pray for y'all, and I'm your Lord and Savior because when Jesus returned, when the Messiah returned and told you that he came in the name of God, when Noble Drew Ali told you he came in the name of Allah, you all ignored him. You ignored them because the truth is the truth. God is the truth. I am your Lord and Savior because I'm telling you what's going on and I have the courage to do it, and you're not supporting me. You didn't support Noble Drew Ali. You didn't support you don't support anybody. You always fail. You always fail at catching on. You always fail. But I'm here for you. You're afraid to have a leader. You don't want a leader like me because I'm so well spoken. Now look at this Moor flag, the red flag, which is the Seminole flag. The Seminole flag is all red. The Alabama flag is all red. Let's go here. Let's go here. Look, the scissors, the same as the pyramid, which is a granite stone, and you cannot carve this into it. It was molded. It was heated into it. I synced it. I synced the technology with my own eyes. These are scissors. Um, Q Butters channel said these are not scissors. I went to the source of it and proved it was. So they are slow. Not only did I prove they're scissors, my people, I showed you the scissors on the pyramid of the three Moorish kings. Let's go and get a face of the three Moorish kings. Look at the three Moorish kings. And that's it. I promise you I ain't gonna talk y'all it up no more. I ain't go get some rest. Look at the three Moorish kings. We see the scissors down here. Look at the faces of the great brothers. They want to hide. Look at this one up here. It's really four Moorish kings, but that might be God. That could be God right there. That could be God. And I can see the eyes. That's an American person. I can see the eyes. That's an American person. But I call it the three Moorish kings because you see these faces right here. And we have all these noses in America, all these nose types. We have the face types right here. This is a pyramid found in America, and we're not getting no support because the government is out here. Not the government, but these agents, these immigrant tethers are ignoring this beautiful information. Pan Africans are upset that this is in America. This lovely granite stone. You can see it. It's not limestone. You can see it. Look at that. You can tell it's granite. Go and look up granite and you can see it's the same color. This is hard stone. It probably came from Arabia Mountain. And they put up these directional markers. This is a directional marker. A directional marker, man. Wow. So, like I said, I found these scissors, and only the Moors have these scissors on their flags, y'all. Wow. Let's go and look it up before I end the video. Let's say Moors flag. Go look it up. Go look it up. This is why Sister Soul exists. Now let's look at the Moors flag. Damn, Moors flag, Qatar flag, the King of Morocco flag. We have the King of Morocco. That's why I named it. That's exactly why I named it. That's why I call it the Moorish King's flag. Remember, the three Moorish kings got assassinated. The three Moorish kings got assassinated. That could have been them. Now look at the Moors flags. Oh, naval flag of the Moors Empire of Morocco. Wow, the X is Moors. Confederacy is Moroccan. The Confederacy X is Moors. Game over, y'all. Game over. Red and green. Red Moroccan flag. Naval flag of the Moors. Red and white. Red and white stripes. Moons. Moors flag. Now let's go back. Let's go back. Oh, look at that. The scissors on the pyramid, y'all. I made history. Y'all are missing out by not supporting me because the Europeans or the Black Africans are no match. Nobody is more uh worthy of representing us. Nobody is more worthier than me to step up to Joe Biden, to step up to the politicians and let them know we know what type of Native Americans we are. We know exactly what type of Americans we are. We know why y'all owe us reparations. Noble Drew Ali already put us in perspective. Look at the scissors, y'all. I know how to talk to Joe Biden. I know because Joe Biden speaking my language. We're Native Americans. We're indigenous Americans. They owe us reparations. We have the artifacts. We have the documentation. We have the proper understanding to get back in law to get our reparations and get our money. The Pan Africans want to distract us, and everybody else want to distract me because they know I'm the most suitable leader to propagate and to confess this information and testify. They know it. Everybody is stalling out because they're jealous and they're also against y'all because you never ever interrupt somebody when they're doing the right thing ever. You never ever play a hate on somebody that's representing us in a good positive light. And these people are out here slandering my name and stalling the process because they are evil and corrupt. They are evil, corrupt, and jealous. And once again, I went live to give y'all a chance to support me. So, like I say, I'm coming with my website, PNF's number one, America's number one conscious leader. I'm going to bring back my old channel once I do my website, and I'm going to come with better content to fully represent y'all, to give y'all one more chance. I'm going to give y'all one more chance to use me to talk to the politicians, to talk to the government, to talk to the people or naysayers, to represent y'all with confidence. I'm going to give y'all one more chance when I bring my channel back. Until then, continue to support this channel. Y'all already know my email. You know my cash app. I don't ask for much. Elijah is Roz Elite, 5'6" Supreme Commander, 5'6" Eli. PNF Industry on Instagram. Just keep tuning in until, I come back big time. Shout out to King Zakir. Y'all go subscribe and listen to his music about Chicago. He got some fire music. Much love to that brother. And understand the work that I'm doing is not a game. Anybody that plays with me, anybody that goes against me is going to be an enemy of Allah. They're going to fall. They're going to hurt. They're going to be hurting. Trust me, I'm not worried about nobody that's disrespecting me. But if you don't support me and you know I'm telling the truth, God rest your soul. God rest your soul for ignoring the work that I do, knowing the importance of it. So I'm up out of here. I don't think I'm gonna prolong this. I'll stop the screen. Shout out to Kiara. Shout out to Gabble for rapping. Anybody else who shoots this video. Shout out to brother Alex LaRoe. And this is another example of what I was talking about, Alexis. I didn't know that was a female. I thought that was a guy. This is another example. Alex LaRoe name. Look at that name, Alexis. Look at that name. That is not an average English name. That's what I'm saying. And she's saying this is her people. Another brown person that's going to get miscounted into this English black stuff. Look at that name, Lario. Everybody don't have these names. That these English people got and these slave people got that they made up when they got here. A lot of us come from different backgrounds, and we're not gonna let y'all tell our name. Tell our story. Look at Alexis Lario. That is a Moorish name. That is a Latin name. That is not a black English name. So she don't fall under the black English slave codes. So English cannot judge her. That's what we're saying. Y'all cannot judge us under that English black stuff. We up under another different government that I proved y'all with Stevon Myro. So either way it go, I proved my point and I showed y'all what Joe Biden was correct. I hope y'all like the program. Please thumb up the video. I will be back. Leave questions if you understand what I'm saying. If you don't understand, you can still leave questions, or comments. But like I say, my other channel was in rehab. Support this channel until I get back on my feet, until I get my website. Support the channel. Until then, peace out.